back to the channel. It's time for another week of Premiership predictions as we enter game week 18 of the Premier League. Before I get on to this week's game zone, I'll just do a quick recap of last week's games to see how well I did. So I got 5 results right and just one perfect score, which was the Manchester United 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest. All the big teams, as I expected, I thought would happen. They were all going back and won in the Boxing Day games and also on the 27th and 28th as well. So no big surprises really. All the other games I didn't get right were, could have gone either way. So it was kind of as I expected, and it was great to be back as well. It was great to have football back on the TV. Premier League football, of course, because of course we've had a lot of football over the last month, despite having no Premier League football. But I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. The Premier League is the thing that people look forward to the most, and it was great to have it back on our screens. Lots of great games, lots of goals. There was 34 goals overall in the 10 games. And I watched quite a lot of them. I watched all the games on Boxing Day, all the live games. There was 4 of them. And then I watched the 2 games on the 27th. And then just finished now, actually watched the game between Man City and Leeds. So it was great to be back. And I'm looking forward to more football before the end of 2022. And then going into the 2023 as well. So anyway, let's get into the first game. So the first game to kick off this round of fixtures is West Ham up against Brentford. West Ham coming to this game in not great form, lost their last 4, including their latest defeat against Arsenal on Boxing Day, a 3-1 defeat. They took the lead in that game and did okay in the first half actually, but then Arsenal, came back into it, and their class just got them the win in the second half. And West Ham, really do need to start getting some points on the board very soon. They are currently in 16th, but they're only 1 point, from the bottom 3. So depends how results go this weekend. They could even be in the bottom 3. Going into 2023, West Ham have got a really good team. I think they've got some really good players. I like the manager, David Moyes. I think he's done really well. So I don't expect them to be in trouble this season. But they do need to start picking up some points, because when you get dragged into that bottom 3, it can be hard to get out of it. And they'll feel like this game against Brentford is a game where they should be able to get 3 points. It won't be easy though. Brentford are a decent team. Doing really well this season, currently in 10th, and they've actually won the last 2 games against West Ham last season. However, they will be a bit disappointed on how the game went on Boxing Day. Winning 2-0 and then let the lead slip, and only drawing 2-2. So that'll be very very frustrating from the manager there and the players, of course. And I think this game will have a lot of goals in. Actually, I think there'll be quite a few goals. And I just feel like West Ham really badly need the win, more than Brentford, I would say. So I'm going to go with a West Ham win. I'm going to go with West Ham 3, Brentford 2. Game is Liverpool up against Leicester. Liverpool are starting to get some great results now, picking up some great form. Won their last 3 games, and getting closer to that top 4 now. Only currently 5 points away from Tottenham. With a game in hand as well. When they lost those 2 games, before the 3 games they just won, a lot of people were thinking they weren't even going to challenge for the top 4. But now they put themselves in a great position with them 3 wins on the bounce now. And I think they're going to strengthen really in the second half of the season. They've got players to come back as well. And also they've just bought Gakpo as well. So I think Liverpool will have a strong second half of the season. And I think they have a great chance of getting into that top 4. Of course, I hope they don't, because being a Man United fan, we don't want them to obviously finish above Manchester United, of course, and obviously it'd be great if they didn't even finish in the top 4. But if I'm taking that aside, I think they're going to be really strong, and I think they've got a good chance of getting into that top 4. Up against the Leicester team, who had a defeat on Boxing Day, but they've done okay before then. Had a few good wins before the World Cup. Currently in fair team, so mid-table, and I'm sure they'll be around that, maybe a bit higher, by the end of the season. They've not got a great record at Anfield. Their last win came in 2000. Of course, they haven't always been in the Premier League since then. But I think it's a tough ask to go against a Liverpool team who are in great form. So my prediction for this one, I'm going to go with Liverpool 2, Leicester 0. So the next game is Wolves against my team, Manchester United. And Wolves got a great win on Boxing Day, their first win in 5. And it kept them in the bottom 3. They're still in 18th, but got them closer to getting out of the bottom 3, and that will give them a lot of confidence now coming into this game. Of course, they're not in great form. Had a really shocking first half of the season, only 2 wins. But this win now, with a new manager, of course, as well, will give them a big boost, and they'll hope to have a good second half of the season and get out of this bottom 3. I still think they're going to be down there because I don't think they've got enough in their squad. We'll see what they do in the transfer window. Maybe they can make a few signings, and then they could have a good chance. But I think this will be a tough game for Manchester United. Down at Wolves as well, where I think it was a few seasons ago we actually lost twice in one season. I think once in the FA Cup, and then it was also in the league as well. We did win there last season, though. Actually, we've won the last 2 games there in the last couple of seasons. So we'll come to this game really confident. We got a great win against Forest in our last game. Very comfortable 3-0 win. Could have been more goals, and that's the only thing I would say about this season is I think we need to start scoring a lot more goals, because our goal difference is only 3, and when I look at the other teams, everyone else's is on a lot more than that. So that's something I really need to improve on. I think if we got a striker, that would be great, but I don't think we're going to buy a striker. Maybe we might get a loan signing. But I don't see us buying anyone. So we'll see what happens with that. But Martial, it was great to see him score. Rashford's in great form. Bruno Fernandes, Anthony, Garnacho, of course, as well. They can start getting the goals as well. I think that's what's going to happen this season. We're going to more share the goals around. We're starting to get a lot of clean sheets now, which is great to see. So it would just be nice to start scoring a few more goals. And because as I said, that top 4 could come down to goal difference. And at the moment, a lot of the teams around us who are fighting for that top 4 have got a much better goal difference. So hopefully we can, in the next in the second half of the season, starting with this game at Wolves, get a few goals. I think we'll get the win, but I think it'll be a lot closer than I would have said maybe before the World Cup. Wolves are in really bad form, but I think that win on the weekend for them will give them a lot of confidence. But I'm going to go with a Wolves 0, Manchester United 2. So the next game is Bournemouth, who are in 15th, up against Crystal Palace, who are in 11th. Both these teams lost on Boxing Day, but Bournemouth will be the team that will be disappointed at the moment even more, because they've only got 2 wins in 10, and they're starting to slip down the table. And they're getting closer to that bottom 3, so they'll really need to start to get a win soon. Crystal Palace had a really bad defeat actually against Fulham on Boxing Day. Also got a couple of red cards as well, so they're going to be missing a couple of players, defenders as well, in this game. But they've won the last 3 games actually against Bournemouth. Their last 3 meetings, they got 3 wins, so they'll come into this game with confidence, that they've beaten this team in the last few games. However, though, I just feel like Bournemouth really need to get a win soon, and I think they might get it in this one. I'm going to go for Bournemouth 2, Crystal Palace 1. So the next game is Fulham, who are in 9th, having a really good season, against a Southampton team who are currently in 20th, bottom of the table, and not playing any confidence at all. No wins in 4, and only one win in 10 as well, which has put them, at the bottom of the table. They're lacking confidence, not scoring goals, changing manager doesn't seem like it's changed too much. The first game in charge on Boxing Day, but it didn't seem to make too much of a difference. So be very concerned for Southampton fans at the moment how the season's going, and they really need to start picking up some points very soon, or they could get cut adrift. If they keep on the way they're playing. They go to Fulham, who are in great form. Had a great win against Crystal Palace on Boxing Day, a great 3-0 win. I think their manager will be really happy. So the way it's going, the form guide, it says a Fulham win, and I'm going to go with a Fulham win as well. I'm going to go with Fulham 2, Southampton 0. So the next game is Newcastle up against Leeds. Newcastle just keep on winning games, 6 on the bounce now after their latest win at Leicester on Boxing Day, and not just winning games, they're winning them quite comfortable as well. Not the first time this season that they've won games by 3 or more goals, and Leicester's not an easy place to go, but they made it look so easy. They're playing with so much confidence, and they've got the best defensive record as well in the league. So it's been a great season for them so far, and currently in third, only behind Man City and Arsenal. I feel like they've definitely got a chance of getting into that top 4. As I said, there's a lot of teams fighting for that top 4 this season. But the way they're playing, they're definitely within a shout. People have been talking, could they even win the title? I think that might be a step too far. But if they can get top 4, this early in their project, we know obviously what's happened with behind the scenes, been taken over by the billionaire. But they probably never thought that in this season that they'll be able to actually get top 4. But the way things are going, they have a great chance, and I actually think they will get into that top 4 this season, unless something really goes badly wrong. Of course they can also make transfers. I'm sure they're going to make a few transfers in the next window, which could strengthen them. The only thing I would say about Newcastle is their depth. Maybe it's not as good as especially Man City and some of the other teams around them. So maybe that's something they want to improve on. But of course they've got the money, so they could definitely do that. They're up against a Leeds team who just lost to Man City, and actually I watched that game and they played decent football. Actually, played some good football, had a few good chances, and they actually will be disappointed on a couple of the Man City goals. Kind of gifted, especially one of them was gifted to them, and when you've got someone like Haaland, you can't give him chances like that, and he's always going to take them. So be disappointed with how the goals were conceded, but they did well actually. They've worked hard and fighted, give Man City a tough game, and it was a 3-1 defeat in the end. But they could be really proud of how they did that game. But they want to get a win soon though, actually, because they I think it's only 2 wins in 6 now from them. So they'll still want to get a win very soon. But I think this will be a tough game. To go and get a result. They did actually draw here last season 1-1, but this is a different Newcastle team now. So I think this will be Newcastle 2, Leeds 0. So the next game is Manchester City up against Everton, and as I just said, Man City, are back with a win, and Haaland of course got a couple of goals, could have even got maybe even 4 or 5 goals, had some great chances in that game, and Man City just stuck as they did before the international break, and I think they're definitely a team. I know they're currently still second behind Arsenal, but without doubt I think they're definitely a team to beat this season. I think if you finish higher than Man City, you're going to win the league. Up against the Everton team though, who are in dreadful form, and they are just outside the bottom 3 in 17th, but it's not going well for them at the moment. They've lost their last 3 games, and they're conceding quite a lot of goals now as well. It was a really bad defeat that against Wolves, a team who are near them at the bottom of the table, and meant Wolves could close the gap from them, and coming into this game they could even be in the bottom 3, going into the new year. So yeah, things are not looking good from them at the moment, and I can only see one win in this game. So I'm going to go with Man City 4, Everton 0. So the next game is Brighton up against Arsenal. Brighton currently in 7th, having a great season, had a great win on Boxing Day, a 3-1 win away to Southampton. And yeah, really positive, really. Nothing I can say really bad about Brighton this season. And they'll be really happy with how the season's going. They've also already beaten Arsenal this season, actually, in the Carabao Cup. It was against their weakened Arsenal team, so I wouldn't look too much into that. They did beat them last season as well. However, this is a different Arsenal team to last season. They're playing with more confidence. They've got more character in their team. After going behind against West Ham in their last game, that's probably a game they would have not won, in previous seasons. So it was great for them to come back, and it just shows that this Arsenal team is a lot different to years gone by. So yeah, I think they're definitely a title challenge. Whether they'll be able to keep up with Man City for the whole season, only time will tell. Whether they'll be able to, how they'll cope without Jesus as well. They did well in their last game, but we'll see how they do in the next few weeks. I still think that's going to be a big loss. I think they might have to try and get a replacement, maybe a loan deal, if they want to try and win this league this season. But without a doubt, I think they're definitely going to be, challenging Man City for the league. As I said, I think Man City will still win the league, but I think Arsenal could give them a good chase this season. My score prediction anyway for this game, I think it'll be close, but I feel like Arsenal will just get a win here. I think it'll be Brighton 1, Arsenal 2. So the next game is Tottenham up against Aston Villa. And Tottenham, yet again, not for the first time this season, came back to get something out of the game after going 2-0 down. And yeah, it just keeps on happening this season for Tottenham. I don't know what's happening, why they're starting games so bad. It's great, to come back into games, shows great character. But, they need to stop doing it, really, because, teams now are starting to creep up behind them. Manchester United, Liverpool, and Chelsea even as well. So, even though, they'll be happy that they came back after, being 2-0 down, which is always good. But, they keep this up, then they could fall out of the top 4. Up against a Villa team who lost their last game, had a good fight against Liverpool, but Liverpool had a bit too much for them in the end. And they actually did beat Tottenham last season in this game, in this fixture. Apart from that, they've not got a great record. The last 10 meetings, they're only 8 wins for Tottenham and 2 wins for Villa. But those 2 wins, including last season, both did come at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that's maybe a good omen for Villa. However, though, I think Tottenham will get the win here. I think it'll be close, but I'll go for Tottenham 2, Aston Villa 1. So the last game of this weekend is Nottingham Forest up against Chelsea. The first meeting between these sides in the Premier League since 1999. They have met in the cup competitions on 5 occasions since then. Chelsea have won all 5. Forest lost their last game against Manchester United. But before the break, the World Cup break, they picked up some decent wins and got off the bottom of the table, of course. And I think they've shown now that they can give teams a game, and I think they've got a good chance of staying up this season. Up against a Chelsea team who really needed a win in their last game and got it against Bournemouth by 2-0. They had lost their last 3 games before that, and they really needed to make sure they got a win really soon. Otherwise, that top 4 would have been really hard to get. But they're not too far off. They've also got a game in hand as well. So they'll be really confident. Especially if they get a win here, that they can get into that top 4 this season. My score prediction for this one, I'm going to go with a Nottingham Forest 1, Chelsea 3. So that's the final round of predictions for 2022. I'll be back in the new year just see how well I did in this round of fixtures, and then also, of course, predict the first round of Premiership predictions for 2023. But in the meantime, have a great new year, and I'll see you in 2023. Thank you.